Hey there, I'm just going to review what Cholula and I worked on this week. So we're going to head on over to Home Depot so that we can do some work in there. You can see as we're walking up, I'm just marking and treating as she checks in with me. And I want to see if I can't get her to do some cute poses around these plants. We're going to walk around kind of the outside in the garden center a little bit, see if I can't get some cute poses around things. And this is me just kind of having a bit of fun with her. But she's also getting to practice her sits and downs and stays. She gets a little bit distracted there by the people carrying the tree, but I can just mark and she comes right back to me. Now, she does get distracted quite often in this video from things on the ground. And typically I would just use the let's go. But today I was doing that let's go, and sometimes it does work just fine. Like when we pass by the person or, when we're out here passing by some other things, I'm just able to say let's go. And she continues walking with me. But there are going to be a couple times where I say let's go and she doesn't respond at all, or he's not quick enough to where I felt comfortable allowing her to continue to sniff and explore, because it was something that I didn't really know what it was. And so in those cases, I'm going to use a eVit. And so basically, like with the tree and the person, even if it took her a second to connect herself, I know exactly what she was sniffing and investigating. But walking around Home Depot, sometimes we pass by things that I'm not too sure what they are, and I don't want her potentially putting them in her mouth. And so in those cases, I'll use a eVit instead. And she did a really great job responding to her eVits today. So I was kind of surprised that I had to use them, because usually she doesn't get that distracted and have that much trouble staying connected and walking with me. So I was kind of surprised by how many times I had to use it, but she did a really great job of responding quickly to those eVits. So here we're walking around the store, and whenever I stop, she's defaulting into a nice sit or down, which is very nice. We found a plastic twin of hers, and we had some fun taking some pictures with her plastic friends. And then we're going to continue walking through the store. Took a few more pictures of her with plants, but for the most part, I'm going to be walking around with her, reinforcing her for walking nicely and checking in with me, and trying to spread out those treats a little bit, just so that I can reduce that rate of reinforcement when there's not much going on. So you can see here, we're taking quite a few steps, getting quite a bit of distance between me marking and treating. I'm even able to do some turns here. And that's really great. That just shows that we're starting to extend our treating. So that was one of those moments where I had to use a eVit. She just wasn't coming up to me. And I do think another dog had peed there. It looked like another dog had peed there, which wouldn't be the most dangerous thing to sniff at, but just in case it wasn't pee, I wanted to kind of get her away from there. And not only does she respond nicely to the eVit, but you can see now we're back to having a nice usage walk, and I can even start spreading out those treats again. That time I was just able to do a nice let's go. So I'm going to set up for the camera for a bit so we can work on her spins. So I'm going to try having her a kind of in heel position, and then using a treat in my hand to move her into that spin. Initially, she's having trouble going all the way around, so I'm happy to just get this kind of quarter stretch where she's kind of moving her head to her hips. This is a good stretch, and also is kind of going to be our quarter spin. And then you can see we're able to do a complete 360 spin. And once she gets it once, she does a much better job of continuing to repeat that. Sometimes I'll add a walk a little bit in between them, because I'm not sure if dogs get dizzy like we do, but it would make sense. So sometimes it can help to just take a second to walk around. As she gets really good following this treat there into a spin, I want to see if I can't start adding in a bit of a hand signal. So I'm still going to have my treat in hand, but now I'm also going to be using my pointer finger to kind of indicate that spin. So you're just going to see my pointer finger be used to kind of do that spin. So still doing the whole circle, but now just with a pointer finger in hopes of morphing that into a hand signal. And once we get some repetitions with that hand signal, I want to see if I can't start fading that treat there. So I'm going to start having no treats in my hand signal hand, but instead in my other hand, so that I can use my hand signal hand to get her to do the spin and then mark and treat for my other hand. We're just going to do a few of those because she seemed to be getting a little bit fatigued with the spins. And then I'm just going to have her swing back into heel position so that we can continue walking. So a bit of a break to work on that trick. It is one that can be surprisingly tiring just because it is also a good stretch. It can kind of get tiring. And once we get really fluent with it going one direction, we're also going to work on going the other direction, just so that we're getting balance on both sides. We're going to spend just a little bit longer walking around, partly because they were also making a lot of noise. There was some mechanical noise. So you may have noticed her staring there. That was her staring at the mechanical noise. I was going to let her investigate for a moment and then just mark and treat for her looking away and engaging with me. So that was just a little bit of like noise sensitivity practice. And then we're going to go ahead and continue our way out of the store and back to the car, just continuing to reinforce her as she keeps pace with me. So all around, she did a really nice job today walking around the store and doing some tricks.